I have sex with both of them.
With Mr. Morton?
And Mrs. Lemon.
And his girlfriend?
Yes, Your Honor. Threesome at the same time, separate relationship. If I don't want to have sex with her and I want to have sex with him, that's what happens.
The first time he had left was the first time me and her met. Throughout the whole time, even told him that we were sleeping together after he had sex with her downstairs or the same chair he's sitting in there playing Xbox.
You 46-year-old married man, Mr. Hartfield. What game is this you feel like you need to play with a 22-year-old girl where your line is, I'm horny?
There was a lot more to the mix than the regular old story of trying to find out who the father of the child is. Ms. Parker was beyond certain that the defendant fathered her child, even though he had a girlfriend. Mr. Morton, the defendant, however, claimed the timeline for her pregnancy just didn't add up. Could Ms. Parker be trying to pin the baby on him?
In your suit, you claim Mr. Morton fathered your 7-month-old son, Aaron, while in a relationship with his current girlfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say the only reason he denies paternity is because his girlfriend turned him against you because she's been unable to conceive a child with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
In addition to the paternity test, you're suing for $2,047 in back child expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I wasn't expecting to hear that. Now the judge is amazed by the fact that Ms. Parker got intimate with Mr. Morton knowing he had a girlfriend. She then proceeds to ask what kind of relationship Ms. Parker had with Mr. Morton, and what she says leaves the entire courtroom in shock.
We're having sex
I have sex with both of them.
With Mr. Morton?
And Mrs. Lemon.
And his girlfriend?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Oh, so a threesome at the same time, or you have two separate relationships?
Threesome at the same time, separate relationship. If I don't want to have sex with her and I want to have sex with him, that's what happens.
Oh, okay. It just got interesting.
She was able to have sex with us is because I asked my boyfriend to have sex with her because she was lonely.
That definitely complicates the whole situation. Looks like their freakiness was going a little over the roof. The fact that they were all sleeping with each other didn't change Mr. Morton's mind. Oh, trust me. He still believed he could not be the father of Ms. Parker's child, which begs the question, why does he have doubts?
When were you intimate with Ms. Parker? During the window?
The week of Mother's Day, May 11th, I believe.
You're intimate that day?
The only intimacy we had on Mother's Day was oral sex, Your Honor. How you gonna get pregnant off of oral sex, Your Honor?
Judge.
When was Aaron born?
December 5th.
So December 5th.
Judging from that situation, Judge Lauren was definitely not going to get the answers she was looking for. A news story enters the mix and complicates things even further. Mr. Parker's girlfriend claims she had a totally different guy she was sleeping with. But is Ms. Parker going to deny the allegation?
She had to keep reminding him that it's not yours, boo, it's not yours. I had sex with you after he was already in my stomach.
Exactly, I said.
But you told us that you didn't have sex with nobody
I just
after
said
you
I
got
didn't
pregnant.
have unprotected sex.
Let's get some control. I want to understand this story. Your testimony, Ms. Parker, is that you weren't intimate with anyone else during that time?
I did not have unprotected sex.
At least she didn't deny getting intimate with another man. Now we know there is a possibility that there might be two fathers. Ms. Parker then tries to clear the air of doubt by dropping a truth bomb. She claims she had a miscarriage before getting pregnant for Mr. Morton.
Ms. Parker, you stated that you weren't having unprotected sex with anyone else.
Yes.
But you're saying you only have unprotected sex with Mr. Morton.
Yes, Your Honor, yes. Let me explain my side of the story, because I'm trying to,
Yeah.
Before my boyfriend went away, I was pregnant by him. That's what they're getting confused. I had a whole miscarriage, Your Honor. A whole miscarriage by this man.
Now, all of a sudden.
I sure wasn't buying the whole miscarriage story, and trust me, the judge wasn't either. Moving on from all that drama, Ms. Parker finds out she's pregnant, and at the first instant, she tells Mr. Morton the baby isn't his. After having an appointment with her doctor, things change.
I'm not gonna lie, I told him, this is not your baby. Being as though I have a sonogram telling me I'm 13 weeks. So when I go to my first prenatal appointment and they give me a fetal assessment, and they say, no, miss, you're 8 weeks pregnant. Your baby is due December the 24th.
So you went to your appointment and then your due date got adjusted?
Yes.
So initially, when you got pregnant, they gave you a certain due date?
Yes, ma'am.
Who knew a child's due date could be changed? Oh well, in Ms. Parker's case, that's exactly what happened. Aside from the fact that he was denying her and the baby, Ms. Parker was also upset because he had not helped out with the finances of taking care of her child. And spoiler alert, he loved taking care of other people's kids.
This feeling that he steps up to the plate and takes care of other people's children,
Yeah, so
but
why
does
should
not properly take care of baby Aaron is the basis of your suit.
Right.
You're suing for $2,047 in child care expenses, things you've spent on baby Aaron since he's been born, and you say Mr. Morton's done nothing.
Besides $30 and she hand-me-down.
The whole situation in the courtroom is about to change, folks. And trust me, you will be left in shock. Ms. Parker brings a witness to the courtroom, and guess who that witness is? None other than Mr. Morton's mother. I bet you weren't expecting that to happen now, were you?
So it is your belief that baby Aaron is your grandchild?
Yes, that's us all the way.
Have you witnessed your son connect with this child?
Yes.
And you've connected with the child?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Morton's mother sure had a lot to say about their love triangle. The crazy thing about this case was Mr. Morton's mother believed the baby was her grandchild. She even went on to say all her family members accepted the baby, so she has no idea why her son doesn't want to.
We do accept him without a doubt.
Without doubt.
Without a doubt. I don't share his doubts because that's ours. That's
She
a
wouldn't
Morton.
know my doubts, Your Honor. My mother don't know anything about the situation. Every time I try to put her into the situation, she don't want to bother.
Where are we going from here with
Well, I'm
this?
gonna tell you where I'm going from this. When you read them DNA tests and they tell you that that's that man's son, I'm going to child support. That's where I'm going with this. I'm going straight downtown.
High time we brought their three-way sexual escapades to a close, right? There's a baby who needs to have a father. Let's see if the envelope is going to give us a shocker.
Mr. Morton, you are Aaron's father.
Thank you. I told you, like I'm not no. Come on.
To care for that child, and Miss Parker is entitled to half of the child care expenses she has incurred thus far. You admit.
There's just something about the name Parker and very messy situations. Mr. Montgomery was beyond upset that Ms. Parker led him to believe he was the father of her child. After playing the daddy role for 3 months, she jumps out of the blue and says her fiancé is the new father. What's making her change her mind?
Mr. Montgomery, you say Miss Parker led you to believe that you fathered her 3-month-old son, Timothy Montgomery. You say you were present at the birth, named the baby, signed the birth certificate, but now Miss Parker says you're not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that, in fact, you are Timothy's father.
Mr. Montgomery seemed to be quite certain he was the father of her child. He starts off by going on a long rant about how he has been the most supportive father ever and how his name is on the child's birth certificate. But Ms. Parker is hell-bent on proving he is not the father of her child.
It's my son, I mean, I was there, through the pregnancy. She allowed me to sit there and sign the birth certificate. And what the funny part is, she allowed me to name the son after my deceased father.
Miss Parker, why would you allow him to do all of these things? Sign the birth certificate at that time, did you or did you not believe he was Timothy's father?
I thought he was the father.
The cat is definitely out of the box. She was sleeping with both men at the same time. Way to go, Ms. Parker. She did admit that for a while she believed that Mr. Montgomery was her baby's father. The judge then asks how she managed to end up in bed with 2 different men, and the courtroom goes up in flames.
I was with Mark, and he was always on Xbox. He wouldn't even have sex with me during the whole pregnancy because he felt weird.
So you're in a relationship, you're not happy. You feel like he's paying more attention to
I was.
Me and her first met, it wasn't even like that. He wasn't even in the picture from what I've said.
You are
He done left.
He pried on my girlfriend when I was
one
with
at
her.
a time.
Thank God the judge came to the rescue because both men were ready to rip each other in half. Even with Judge Lauren telling both men to take a chill pill, they still couldn't stop yelling at each other. It felt like a wrestling match between Mr. Montgomery and Ms. Parker's fiancé.
Trust and believe, my son will have what he needs.
That's funny because I'm the one down there right now putting diapers on his ass, buying formula, buying
my
clothes.
back and you bit on my girl, homie.
So
I asked because I had a
Before
feeling.
you got pregnant, you ended up with Mr. Lanou, right?
Your Honor,
During
me and
So
her
how did that
from-
happen?
Mark.
The first time he had left was the first time me and her met. Throughout the whole time,
Yeah,
even
broke up
told
with
him
me.
that we were sleeping together after he
No,
came
they
back.
didn't.
They finally decide to tone down their voices. I never thought that a time would come when both men would quit yelling at each other. With the yelling out of the way, the judge decides to ask Ms. Parker why Mr. Montgomery was present at the birth and not her fiancé. Well, here's how that story went.
Holding him for the first time, I bring him him to, you know, her face, you know, so she can see him because she had a C-section. You know, I'm sitting there crying. I even told myself that, you know, when he was born, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. Was I nervous? No, I was excited because the simple fact of the matter, I was told that I was gonna be a father. And unlike most men, I was damn proud to hear that I was gonna be a father.
Judging from that revelation, you could only feel sorry for Mr. Montgomery. He definitely had high hopes of becoming a father. Ms. Parker's fiance, on the other hand, was riding a different train. He claimed he was furious about the whole situation, but couldn't do anything about it.
Mr. Montgomery went through all of the motions, got to be at the hospital.
It still hurts.
He named the baby after his father. I mean, he's doing the most.
I actually was going to show up to the hospital, but out of respect for her and that unborn child, refused to because I know that it would have caused a disturbance between me and him.
It was really hard to believe her fiance. He didn't even sound that convincing. Now, who's been stepping up as the father of the child? Is it Mr. Montgomery, the man who desperately wants to be the father, or Ms. Parker's fiance? That's the question the judge is trying to figure out. But was she going to get the answer she was looking for?
Mr. Montgomery, you haven't been stepping up? Is that by choice?
She wanted me out.
I did.
And I granted her wish. She sat there and came to me, you know, I told her, I was like, you just don't seem like you want to be with me no more. She said, I don't. She told me she would rather be with Luke because, you know, no, she said she would rather be with Luke because he was the more plausible father of the child.
There were definitely no answers waiting for the judge, that's for sure. Ms. Parker's then asked what she's going to do if she finds out the baby belongs to Mr. Montgomery. In her defense, she claims she's going to let him visit but not spend so much time with the child, but Mr. Montgomery has bigger plans.
Mr. Montgomery is in fact Timothy's biological father. What then?
I will let him see him.
You'll let him be a part of his life?
I would. Just not, you know, taking him places, you know, far away.
I want to be able to spend days, weeks, months, years. I want to teach my son right from wrong. I want to pass my father's legacy that he passed on to me, onto my son to him.
You don't need me to tell you, Mr. Montgomery and Ms. Parker are going to suck at being co-parents. The big question on everyone's mind now is how she is so certain that the child belongs to her fiancé and not Mr. Montgomery. What could possibly be her reason?
Do you really want Timothy to be Mr. Lanew's child?
Yes, I
because you want to be with Mr. Lanew?
Because he is honestly more active with all three of my kids. I want him to be Timothy's father. He's more interactive.
Wanting and having a reasonable basis to believe he's the father are two different things.
He's not the father. I want to be with him.
At this point, there's really no point for the judge to keep dragging the whole situation any further. It's been a whole mess, and the only way out is the results hidden behind the envelope. Are the results going to be in Mr. Montgomery's favor? Let's find out.
Mr. Montgomery, you are not the father. Mr. Lanew, you are the father.
Baby.
In my eyes, that's still my son. I was there for his birth. I sat there and was there for the first month and a half of his life.
In this situation, Ms. Hubbard wanted to prove to the court that the defendant was the father of her 2-year-old daughter, but she didn't stop there. She was also seeking 2 years' worth of child support from the defendant. Mr. Watson Jr. claimed he couldn't be the father. Could he be trying to deny the baby?
Ms. Hubbard, you've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to Mr. Watson Jr. that he is the father of your 2-year-old daughter, Amiria Hubbard.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're also seeking 2 years' worth of child care expenses in the amount of $2,150.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Watson, you say you know you are not the father of Ms. Hubbard's daughter.
Let's just say she felt more hurt than anger. She claimed it wasn't easy on her side, having to take care of 5 children and her disabled mother all by herself. Even the judge couldn't hide how sorry she felt for Ms. Hubbard.
He hasn't contributed to anything. He hasn't done anything for her. Nothing.
You're doing this by yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I'm taking care of my 5 children and my disabled mother by myself. And
how hard has it been for you?
Very hard.
I see the tears in your eyes.
Yeah, very hard.
Oh, stop.
When I was pregnant with her, he came around and he was supposed to give me some money because I had took him somewhere. He didn't want to give me some gas money.
Mr. Watson Jr. sure has a lot of explaining to do. Ms. Hubbard told the judge that he sold her a dream of wanting to be there and take care of her and her child. But in real life, he never wanted to be part of their lives. Well, guess what? Mr. Watson Jr. didn't deny the accusations. So where did it all go wrong?
Mr. Watson, is that true? Have you done anything for this child?
No, ma'am, I haven't done anything for this child.
You admit you've done nothing?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that, sir?
Because I don't think this is my baby.
You don't?
This is not my baby, because she lied.
But your family
You had sex with Miss Hubbard,
But your family
Right,
members
but she
Did
left
you use
her.
protection?
No, ma'am. But this was way before.
And his family members.
She lied about her dates.
That revelation definitely took everyone by surprise. One thing was for sure, though. Mr. Watson Jr. came very prepared to defend himself. He brought out a calendar that detailed the time frame in which Miss Hubbard claimed she was pregnant. Here's how that played out.
She told you she was 3 months pregnant in August.
Right.
And then you say in October, she told you she was 3 months pregnant again?
Again, yes. So I'm like, who does that? Why should I believe that's my baby?
But that's a lot of months to be 3 months pregnant.
That's what I'm saying. He don't even know.
Ms. Hubbard, can you explain this?
No.
After that back and forth, I can only ask, how did these two even get into a relationship with each other? Mr. Watson Jr. then goes on to express further why he feels Ms. Hubbard is trying to pin the baby on him, and trust me, he had more truth bombs to reveal.
She was pregnant. She was 3 months pregnant. I was like, oh, okay, so I know she probably be pregnant because we did have unprotected sex, so I rode with it. Okay, so September, she sold me an ultrasound. And the ultrasound, she supposed to be, about 4 months? Ultrasound looked like the baby was like about ready to come out, like 7 months. So I'm like, you cannot be 4 months.
No.
Look at that baby head.
I did tell you he had more truth bombs up his sleeve, but here's where things get a little tricky. All this while, Ms. Hubbard believed they were in a romantic relationship because she really liked him. But for Mr. Watson Jr., that was not the case. Even while he was with her, he was cheating with several women. Oops!
Was this an exclusive relationship? Did you all say we're committed, we're boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, we was together.
No.
We was together, but he was still cheating. He a dog.
On the time I wanted to be.
He still had females. Okay. He was living in a rooming house with a female. He still had females. He talking about they just his friend. I used to stay catching him, but like after when I caught him after we had sex on Valentine's Day, I was done. I was over.
That was a lot to handle if you ask me. Now the dynamic of their story takes a new turn. Mr. Watson Jr. drops another truth bomb in the courtroom and claims he is certain he wasn't the only man Ms. Hubbard was intimate with. Hold up, there was another man?
I ain't want to look at it because, it's a diary. It might hurt my feelings. So Temptation told me to go and look at it. I went on and look at it. First page, I see she was talking about her first love, and I flipped to another page. It had a condom pack on it, and explaining the dude that she had sex with, how his sex was, and everything. Okay, I flipped to another page. Flipped to another was another condom pack. Right there, so
on the diary?
Now, that was some evidence. Looks like he wasn't lying after all. When Ms. Hubbard found out she was pregnant, what did he do? She told Mr. Watson Jr. immediately, and as you would expect, he denied it to her face. Here is what she did after his denial.
Did you go to any of the doctor's appointments? You showed the ultrasound? Did you show up for that?
No, she lied the first time.
I didn't see him no more. I didn't see him no more until he asked me to do his hair, and he came over there and he had brought some clothes with him at my house to do his hair. When he had left, he left his outfit. Then ain't my baby. I ain't got time to back her none. I said, okay, well, let me go on here and sell this little nice outfit.
She has definitely been through a lot. It hurts her so bad that in no time she bursts into tears as she talks about how Mr. Watson Jr.'s family accepts her and the child. But for some reason, he just doesn't want to accept the baby.
His family members even accept my child. He the only one that don't accept her.
Well, that's because you lied. You're
saying, Miss Hubbard, that this is upsetting you because you say his whole family.
Yes, and he keeping her away. He don't even want her around his other kids. He don't even claim her. Sometimes he claim her on Facebook, then he get mad, that ain't his baby, then he make a show about it. But that's his child.
For her sake, I hope Mr. Watson Jr. ends up being the father of her child because he has put her through so much. The results from the DNA are in. It's high time we got a verdict from the judge, so here it comes.
Mr. Watson, you are Amaria's father.
Deadbeat. Like I told you. Right.
Sorry. You've been lying on them dates.
I'm straight.
You've been lying on them dates. And I'm willing to take care of her. Along with my other 2 kids, I promise.
I'm straight.
Talk about a messy situation. This would definitely go down as the messiest to ever exist. Ms. Streeter found herself in the courtroom trying to prove that her child belonged to the defendant who lied to her about his marriage. At least the defendant wasn't denying the affair, but was he going to accept the baby?
Ms. Streeter, you claim that during your relationship with the defendant, he convinced you to get pregnant with his child, but what you didn't know is that he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Hartfield is only denying the child in order to save his marriage. Mr. Hartfield, you say you made a mistake by having an affair, but you know you are not the father of Miss Streeter's child. You claim that Miss Streeter was openly sleeping with other men besides you.
As you would expect, Ms. Streeter and Mr. Hartfield, the defendant, were not going to go down telling the same story. On one side, Ms. Streeter claimed Mr. Hartfield told her he wanted to have a family with her. On the other hand, Mr. Hartfield denied all accusations, claiming Ms. Streeter was nothing but delusional.
We went to the hospital when we got the birth control, taken out together, we went together.
She's telling you guys a bunch of lies. A whole lot of lies. That's convincing. If I didn't know any better, I'd be convinced.
What is true?
That's definitely not the truth. We went in and took a birth control out together. That's definitely not true.
We planned this child, and when we even planned the day, I had an app on my phone that tracked my ovulation, and we knew what we was doing when we was having sex.
One thing was for sure, though, Mr. Hartfield's hands weren't innocent. How are you married, and you end up having an affair with someone else? In his defense, he claimed he never kept the fact that he was married a secret from Ms. Streeter. But was that really true?
He's trying to make it seem like we was never in a relationship and that this never happened, but he just texted me just recently trying to get back with me, trying to tell me he want to be with me.
Oh my God.
So that's
Is that true, sir?
No, it is not.
I have a text message right here.
Streeter?
He texted me last night. I have the proof right here.
I'd like to see that. You say he texted you?
He texted me earlier this week.
After that piece of evidence, Mr. Hartfield was definitely lying through his teeth. Even Judge Lauren couldn't hide her irritation any longer. He was trying to make the situation look like he was the victim. But come on, Mr. Hartfield. We're too grown for all that. Just tell the truth.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
But he's a married man.
Hold on. Let me explain to you why. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play. If I don't do that, Dominique goes ballistic. And we were playing this game, but now that we're in court, it seemed like some old man has been trying to hit on a young lady, but I'm telling you, that is not true.
Oh well, looks like the judge might have to hit him with tougher questions before he tells the truth. What the judge wanted to know now was, what happened when Ms. Streeter told Mr. Hartfield she was pregnant?
It was planned. It was expected. He was excited. He wanted a baby. That was the whole point.
This is the situation. Dominique deals with so many guys, okay? She found one that was an older guy, and she thought that I would be a cake daddy, or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you waste your time.
That's not true. That's not true.
Mr. Hartfield sure knows how to lie. At this point, the judge is done listening to whatever stories he's telling in the courtroom. She proceeds to ask Mr. Hartfield's wife if she had any idea her husband was fooling around with Mizzy Streeter. Here's how that drama played out.
All of these details and the fact he's still texting this 22-year-old young woman?
No, he did not.
How did you even find out about this entire affair?
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message?
A random text message that says, I'm in a relationship with your husband and have been for 8 months, and I'm pregnant. And that's it.
It's really not surprising he kept the whole affair from his wife. Who in their right mind would tell their wife they had an affair? The mind-blowing thing about this drama between Mr. Hartfield and Ms. Streeter was that he was actually excited to have the baby.
He was there when the baby was born. He was excited, like, this my baby, this my boy. I never got to see none of my kids born. I want to be with you. Let's make this work. We got a child. He needs to be in the house with both parents.
Were you telling her these things, Mr. Hartfield?
No.
I tried to get him to sign the birth certificate. The reason why, he signed it at first, but it was time for the witness to see us, and he you too anxious about me signing this birth certificate.
Could you imagine that? His name was actually signed on the child's birth certificate. Wow! All hands were pointing at Mr. Hartfield. In trying to change the topic, he drops a truth bomb, claiming he wasn't the only man Ms. Streeter was sleeping with.
Oh, now it's her fault.
Because I never got her support or anything.
Not only that,
that's a fact.
He had more girlfriends when he was
that.
talking to me. When I first met him, he had a lot of women he talked to.
Of course.
A lot.
Of course.
It was
Of course.
So not only was it me, it was other people.
Let the truth come out. That's exactly what I said.
Mr. Hartfield was definitely not expecting that to come to bite him in the ass. Isn't Mr. Hartfield tired of all these lies? Because I definitely am. Anyway, you can only hide the truth for so long till it bursts out, and the DNA results are about to do just that.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay, that's good. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. You two are both very beautiful young women.
Mr. Benning is a stand-up guy who always dreamed of having a daughter. He's been there for his 2-year-old daughter, Robin, from day one, but there's just one problem. He's got doubts about her paternity. And to make matters worse, he's also questioning whether he's the father of his 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.
Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr., Jr.'s paternity. Although you are hopeful that both are your children, you now have doubts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Benning's ex, Ms. Bodine, cheated on him, but she claims that he is the father of both kids and has evidence to back it up. Doesn't make much sense now, does it? But hey, let's see how this unfolds.
Ms. Bodine, you claim you are certain the plaintiff is Robin and Jermaine Jr.'s father and have evidence to support your claim. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Benning just poured his heart out to the judge, explaining how important it is for him to have a daughter. He lost his mother at a young age, and having a daughter was his way of honoring her memory. He's been there for Robin every step of the way.
So tell me about the day you first found out she was pregnant.
Well, when she first came home and told me she was pregnant, I was excited, you know? I mean, especially once we found out that it was a girl. That's something that I've always wanted. It like hyped me up. You know, I couldn't ask for anything else than that. It's my world.
That was a huge twist. Ms. Bodine drops a bombshell. She admits to cheating on Mr. Benning. And to make matters worse, she received a text from another guy while she was in labor claiming that he's the father of Robin. That's basically the definition of bad timing.
There could be other guys out there. That's just one, you know?
Now, that's the plot twist.
As well as, Your Honor, anytime that something's wrong, I'm also reminded, oh, you're not her father. As soon as we start to argue, you're not her father. But if you need something, I'm
you
the father.
say stuff to hurt my feelings. Why can't
Have I
do
ever
it
told
to
you that you're not the parent of your kid?
You can't. I pushed him out.
Hold on, folks. Ms. Bodine says she's certain that Mr. Benning is the father of both kids. She even got another guy tested, and surprise, surprise, he's not the father. But Mr. Benning ain't buying it. He's got trust issues, and who can blame him? Those doubts are eating away at him, and it's clearly tearing him apart.
So, Mr. Benning, explain what the doubt feels like, having to live with it every day.
Yeah, I have to change her diaper and look at her and play with her, and she's calling me daddy, and there's something in the back of my head saying she might not be. You know, there's a text message on my phone saying she's not yours.
This is about to get real. The first set of results are in, and it's not looking good for Mr. Benning. The court determines that he is not the father of 2-year-old Robin. The room falls silent as Mr. Benning tries to hold back his tears.
Mr. Benning, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It doesn't matter, I'm still gonna be there.
But wait, there's more. The judge senses Mr. Benning's doubts about Jermaine Jr.'s paternity and decides to put those to rest once and for all. Will this be the moment of truth that Mr. Benning has been waiting for? Or do nice guys really finish last?
Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
What the?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Benning.
I got cribs and playpens and toys, and I've done everything that I do, and...
Ms. Bodine, do you know who Jermaine Jr.'s father is?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Deggs is a man who thought he had found love with his childhood sweetheart, Ms. Guerin. But little did he know, his world was about to be turned upside down.
Mr. Deggs, you are here today hoping you are the biological father of the defendant's 3-year-old son, Jason. You have petitioned the court for paternity tests because you claim your ex, Ms. Guerin, first led you to believe that you were Jason's dad, but when the baby was 6 months old, she confessed that you may not be the biological father. You say Jason is the most important thing in your life, and you are praying the results today turn out in your favor.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Deggs finds out that not only did his best friend sleep with his girlfriend, but his own brother did too. Ouch, that's gotta hurt. But wait, it gets even messier. Ms. Guerin admits to cheating on Mr. Deggs because she felt neglected.
Now, Ms. Guerin, you admit you slept with another man at the time your son was conceived, but you say that was only after the plaintiff strayed. You too are unsure about your son's paternity and are desperate for today's results. Now, Mr. Deggs, when did you first find out Ms. Guerin cheated on you?
We were together about a year. At the time, we were moving out of my best friend's apartment.
Fast forward to Ms. Guerin finding out she's pregnant. Mr. Deggs is there by her side, ready to be the best dad he can be. But there was a secret lurking in the shadows. Ms. Guerin had doubts about the paternity of their child.
And he left me in the apartment all the time with a roommate that he knew was attracted to me and wanted to be with me.
And so you did what? You're home and the best friend's home.
Well, we were drinking and he was showing interest in me, made me feel pretty, and was giving me everything at the time that Jason was not, was actually
Because
being
I was
a
at
friend.
work.
And
In that one day at work, he gave you everything Mr. Deggs never gave you?
No.
But here's the kicker, folks. Ms. Guerin kept this secret from Mr. Deggs for 6 whole months. 6 months. She let him believe he was the father, all while knowing there was doubt. Talk about a betrayal of trust.
I moved you in.
And
You
somebody
paid
else.
nothing. You were taken care of.
You worked for
did.
the
You
newspaper.
moved out of your mom's. Yeah.
So you're
I
like
did work
barely
for the
making it in
newspaper,
an
but still.
apartment.
All right. You two
sorry,
might
slow
not
my
know
brother.
how
You're super
to
intelligent.
respect each other outside of the courtroom, but in this courtroom, we must remain respectful.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now,
And here's Mr. Felton, Ms. Guerin's new boyfriend. He claims to have stepped up as a father figure to Jason, even though he knows he's not the biological father. Props to him for being there for the child, but let's see what Mr. Deggs feels about it.
She has the nerve to wait.
Mr. Deggs, you thought this child was yours.
Something.
Yes, Your Honor, I sure did.
No doubts in your mind. You're going
No
on
doubts
about
at
your
all.
life
Ready
with
to
your
get my
new
family
baby.
established, make the family
Even
that
though
I
he was
never
telling me
had.
how much of a cheater I was, how bad I was, everything, you're just
Yeah, because I was still hurt,
okay.
but I was trying to.
All right, it's time for the big reveal. The DNA results are ready. Will Mr. Deggs be Jason's biological father, or will he have to say goodbye to the child he's grown to love?
Mr. Deggs, you are not the father.
And that's for the best. Honestly, it's for the best because he has only stayed this long so that he could get whatever benefit he's getting out of it.
Benefit?
But honestly,
What
Your
benefit
Honor,
am I
Wait.
Taking
No.
care of a 3-year-old child.
I am disgusted that you would perpetrate this lie on this man.
Maurice and Miss Yancey are a couple who are at odds over the paternity of their 7-month-old son, Kahari. Maurice is convinced that he's not the father, and Miss Yancey is desperate to prove him wrong. It's a classic case of he said, she said, but with a twist.
Ms. Yancey, you are here to save your family by proving to your boyfriend that he fathered your 7-month-old son, Kahari. You testify that his paternity denial is tearing you apart. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, let's talk about the nature of their relationship before Miss Yancey got pregnant. It's a bit of a roller coaster, folks. They were on again, off again, and even had a little friends with benefits situation going on. I mean, who hangs out at the gas station these days? But hey, to each their own.
So, Ms. Yancey, tell us why this court date is so important.
Well, it's important because, we've been having a few issues ever since my baby was born. It would go, he was there through the entire pregnancy, and we would go back and forth after the baby was born about, the baby doesn't look like him, the baby looks like me.
So things took a turn when Miss Yancey started seeing someone else, and Maurice wasn't too happy about it. He even went as far as following her around and causing a scene. I mean, come on, Maurice. We're not in high school anymore. But hey, love makes us do crazy things.
Where are you at with this?
Right now, Your Honor, it's hard, because I do love her now. And throughout the whole relationship, we always talked about having a child together. But, now it's like we're at a point where it's a child, but I possibly might not be the father, so it kind of hurts. So.
And Kahari is 7 months old, and you worried about, is it your baby?
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Yancey finds out she's pregnant, and she drops the bombshell on Maurice. She sends him a text saying that the baby might not be his. But Maurice, being the stand-up guy that he is, decides to stick around and be there for the baby regardless.
And all this stuff came out. He started cussing me out and texting me and calling me out my name. And
well, yeah,
he was following me in my car.
If you're in a relationship with somebody,
we weren't in a
you don't
relationship,
go and give another man a ride and not.
But I thought y'all said you all were broken
right,
up.
Exactly. When we were breaking up,
that's not
to me. I felt like we were over.
If we were
and I told him that multiple times.
The baby is born, and Maurice is overcome with emotions. He's happy, he's excited, but there's just one problem. He thinks the baby looks more like Miss Yancey than him. Maurice, buddy, I hate to break it to you, but babies tend to look like their moms too. It's called genetics.
We were sitting at my mom's house, and she came and she said that she took a pregnancy test and she's pregnant. And I'm like, I was happy for the simple fact that over the years we were trying to conceive and have a baby. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, yes, it finally happened. And then after she told me, she left and texted me that the baby might not be mine.
That's correct.
Oh!
Things are getting really interesting. Miss Yancey decides to take a family trip to Fresno, and Maurice stumbles upon some pictures of the baby with another man. Oh, Miss Yancey, you should have told him about that sooner. Secrets have a way of coming back to haunt you.
Was Mr. Thomas supportive when you were pregnant with Kahari? Was he there for you?
Yes, Your Honor, absolutely.
The whole way?
The whole way.
Even though you sent that text back and said it might not be your child?
Yes, I explained to him.
Maurice is clearly hurt and feels betrayed. He's questioning everything now, and you can't blame him. But here's the thing. Miss Yancey claims that the other man could potentially be the father, and that he wants to be involved in Kahari's life. Maurice, on the other hand, is ready to step back and let the other man take over.
The whole way?
The whole way.
Even though you sent that text back and said it might not be your child?
Yes, I explained to him that, I was skeptical.
And even though she was skeptical, she told me, and I had my doubts, but at the same time, it was like the 50% chance it is mine. I don't want to have the son, born in this world without being there for him. So regardless, I stepped up and chose to be there for him.
All right, folks, it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. The DNA results are in, and it's time to find out the truth. Will Maurice be the father he's always wanted to be, or will he have to step aside and let another man take over?
Mr. Thomas, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It's okay, Your Honor. It's all right. I still love her, and I still love him at the end of the day. But if she wants to build a father-son relationship with Kahari and the other man, then I feel like there's no need for me to try to build.
Mr. Matlock is a hard-working man who had to go out of town for some family business. But little did he know, while he was away, his girlfriend Ms. Monroe decided to invite her ex-lover to move right on into their love nest. The disrespect is heavy in this one, folks, and it only gets worse.
Mr. Matlock,
yes, ma'am.
You say that a few years back you were suddenly called away on family business.
Yes,
while
Your Honor.
absent, you claim the defendant, Ms. Monroe, invited her former lover to move into your family home.
Yes.
Mr. Matlock claims that he forgave Ms. Monroe, and they resumed their sexual relationship once he returned. But just when things seem to be getting back on track, she drops a bombshell on him. She's pregnant, and there's a chance he might not be the father.
Admit that you have serious doubts about the paternity of your child as well. You argue that when Mr. Matlock left on family business, he stopped answering your phone calls and texts for an entire month.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's not correct.
In your defense, you say you believe he was never coming back again.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Monroe, on the other hand, argues that Mr. Matlock left her high and dry for a whole month, not answering her calls or texts. She thought he was never coming back, so she made the questionable decision to move her ex into their home. Yikes. She just created one messy situation.
You should still have to talk to me if I'm your girlfriend. You should care. You should care. If you would give me a reason, then I wouldn't have jealousy issues.
Ms. Monroe, when he went out of town, did he voluntarily call you at all while he was gone?
Live.
Maybe
not one call.
Maybe 2 or 3 times, like the whole time he was gone.
Let's hear from Mr. Matlock. He explains that when he was away, Ms. Monroe informed him that she had moved her ex into their home. Can you imagine finding out that your significant other has replaced you within a week? From their own mouths. That's gotta sting.
I felt something about her. So we worked out the whole situation. We talked about it, we worked it out. I eventually moved back in the house, picking up a sexual relationship with her again.
All right.
Everything was going good for about a month and a half. I get a phone call.
Hold up, folks. Ms. Monroe has a different version of events. She claims that Mr. Matlock was gone for a whole month, not just a week. And she tried calling him multiple times, but he never answered.
You assumed he may not be the father based upon the fact it had been 18 months and you hadn't gotten pregnant.
Yeah, and within that little amount of time, I got pregnant.
But is the truth that you really didn't know who the child's father was?
Exactly.
It actually, when I had my 5-year-old, she looked just like my other one. So I assumed that she wasn't his because her and my other child looked exactly alike.
She's a pretty little girl. I'm not saying she's not pretty.
Mr. Matlock returns home, and after some intense discussions, they decide to give their relationship another shot. They even resume their sexual relationship. But just when they thought they were in the clear, Ms. Monroe drops the bombshell that he might not be the father of her child.
At what point did she then claim that you might be the father?
December 31st, 2008. Me and her sister are friends.
Okay.
So I call her sister every New Year's. Happy New Year's. What's up? First thing out of her sister's mouth was, what's up is you need to check on your daughter. I didn't even know she had a girl. Matter of fact, when the baby was born, another man was in the hospital room with her when the baby was born.
All right, folks, let's go through this evidence. Mr. Matlock submitted some dates that show when he was intimate with Ms. Monroe and when her ex was in the picture. And guess what? The dates overlap. This means that either of them could be the father. It's a 50-50 chance, folks.
At what point did she then claim that you might be the father?
December 31st, 08. Me and her sister are friends.
Okay.
So I call her sister every New Year's. Happy New Year's. What's up? First thing out of her sister's mouth was, what's up is you need to check on your daughter. I didn't even know she had a girl.
But here's the kicker. Ms. Monroe actually agrees with Mr. Matlock on this one. She admits that she has serious doubts about the paternity of her child. That said, the DNA results are in, and it's time to find out if Mr. Matlock is the father or not.
Mr. Matlock, the wait is over. You are not.
I knew it. Don't find your baby daddy. Put somebody else on child support. I want my money back. I told you I wasn't the father of that child. Knew it from the beginning. Trifling.
So we've seen a handful of good men who've been taken through the ringer by their partners. What we haven't seen is two good people who've taken each other through the ringer. Until now, we've got Ms. Davis, a strong and confident woman who claims that Mr. Cole is the father of her adorable daughter, Autumn.
Ms. Davis, you say that after accepting your daughter, Autumn, Mr. Cole abruptly ended your relationship, moved out of your home, and is now denying her. You say Mr. Cole is the only man who could be Autumn's father, and you intend to prove paternity today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Here's Ms. Davis, looking fierce and determined as she takes the stand. She's hurt, angry, and disappointed that Mr. Cole is suddenly denying their daughter. She insists that he's the only man she's been with since February. But Mr. Cole, on the other hand, is questioning everything. He's got doubts and claims that Ms. Davis is untrustworthy and sneaky.
You say there are too many facts that don't add up, and there is no way you are her child's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Davis, how does it feel knowing Mr. Cole is denying your daughter?
I feel hurt, angry, disappointed how he all of a sudden not claiming my daughter. He is the only man that I've been with since February.
Ms. Davis reveals that she found out she was pregnant on March 21st, just 4 weeks after she and Mr. Cole got intimate. She even submitted a calendar to the court, highlighting their moments of passion. But wait, there's a twist. Mr. Cole starts getting messages from random people claiming that he might not be the father.
Anything she asks for, I do for the baby.
But you deny you are her biological father.
I'm just questioning right now because ever since I met her, she's been lying to me about stuff. You know, people been texting her. Random people been walking up to me, asking me stuff about it. And I just came here to get the truth and move on.
Hold up. We've got a witness, folks. Ms. Davis's twin sister, Ashley, takes the stand. She drops a bombshell, claiming that her sister admitted to having sex with another guy just 2 days before getting intimate with Mr. Cole. Oh, snap. This is getting juicier by the second.
On this calendar, in yellow, it indicates when you were intimate with Mr. Cole, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you started having sex with him here, and then on the 21st, you find out you're 4 weeks pregnant. And he was the only man you were with during that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
The tension in the courtroom is reaching its peak, folks. Ms. Davis is adamant that Mr. Cole is the father, while he's still questioning everything. But guys, Mr. Cole signed the birth certificate, legally making him Autumn's father.
So this is a copy of the birth certificate here.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Cole, at some point, your name got on it.
Yeah, like 2 months after she was born. Because my family had got in my head and she looks just like you, that's your twin.
And you accepted Autumn as yours, or you still had doubts?
I accepted her as mine.
You did?
Yes.
Because your family had convinced you?
Yes, ma'am, but...
All right, folks, it's time for the moment everyone had been waiting for. The DNA results are in. From love to doubt, anger to disappointment, it was finally time for the truth. Judge Lake, would you do the honors?
Mr. Cole, you are not the father. Ms. Davis, would you like to finally just lay it on the line and tell the truth?
It hurts. It's embarrassing. I thought he was the father.
This is one of these defining moments in your life.
Mr. Buchanan claims to have very strong evidence that his girlfriend slept with his best friend. His girlfriend, Ms. Stembridge, says that this is impossible, but Mr. Buchanan's ex-girlfriend claims that she saw Ms. Stembridge being intimate with the man in question. And that's the reason Mr. Buchanan says that Ms. Stembridge's child isn't his.
Yeah, we was actually at a store. We took Eric up to the store. He was in the back seat already drunk. Jessica went in to go get his beer, which, I mean, why are you getting him beer? You know what I'm saying?
He could have got it himself, Your Honor.
Well, you went in there
You're
to get
his
it.
best
You went
friend.
in there to get it for him.
You
So
should have got it. So
I mean,
got to an argument over the beer?
okay, so you're best friends with him then, obviously, if you went in there. But anyways, me and Eric was in the car while she in there getting his beer. And this was actually the day after.
Okay, Okay, Mr. Buchanan here is a great orator and he isn't scared to explain all the nitty-gritty details to us. But is all of that really necessary? Anyway, Mr. Buchanan says one day he got back from jail after being incarcerated and this is what he saw.
All right, we're staying with Eric. All right, so I walk in there. What do I see? Lemon drops. Lemon drops. Lemon drops laid out everywhere. I ain't talking about no candy. I ain't talking about no candy. Look, she already knows. Look, I ain't talking about no candy.
There was 2 shot glasses laying on the table.
When you walked in and you saw the drinks out, in your mind you thought she's drinking with him again, and she said that was only a one-time thing.
Wow, that's definitely evidence of hanky-panky, right? Well, things get even weirder when a woman is introduced into this narrative. And this woman is Mr. Buchanan's ex-girlfriend. This ex-girlfriend called Mr. Buchanan and basically told him that his girlfriend was cheating on him with his best friend, which, as you'd expect, leads to even more chaos, as Ms. Stembridge didn't appreciate that very much. Here is how that went.
This is a girl right here, all right? Had my back since,
Why are you mad, Jessica?
Had my back since day one.
I ain't talking to you. Well, good.
Had my back since day one.
Well, go be
Ms.
with her then.
McNeil,
Go be with her.
come on, up to the
please.
podium, please. Now, Mr. Buchanan says that you witnessed firsthand
Yes, ma'am, I
some
did.
very
Disturbing.
inappropriate behavior.
That was not
from his
going on, Your
girlfriend.
Honor.
What a mess. No one is even speaking about the poor baby at the center of this all. It's just a bunch of adults doing all they can to one-up one another and say the worst things they can possibly say on air. Insanity doesn't even begin to describe it. Anyway, Ms. McNeil, Mr. Buchanan's ex-girlfriend, decides to show us through a chart just how much of Ms. Stembridge's stuff was in the air.
This is the door to Eric's room. I walked in, standing right there.
Nope, that's a lie, Your Honor. Because I would have seen her. I ain't never seen this girl in my life.
You ain't never seen me in your life.
No, none of
That's
them
a lie.
pictures in his
Look,
phone.
look.
Pictures in his phone.
Yeah, in his phone.
See, that's wrong.
right, in his
I
phone.
weren't even
That's
laying
right.
that way. I weren't even
She
laying
was
that
like
way.
this.
No.
All I saw was booty.
Well, who wouldn't take a free liquor shot? Anyway, Ms. Stembridge insists that all of this testimony is just one huge giant lie trying to destroy her life. Also, Ms. Stembridge says she's never seen this woman before in her life, which is kind of a hard sell, given just how mutually they clearly dislike one another. But let's see how Ms. Stembridge sells it.
Ms. Stembridge, so you're saying you have no recollection of her even being in the house?
No, and this was during the daytime because she called Eric and said, hey, I'm coming over to pick something up. So why would I be bending over to bed like that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it took me a little longer to get there and you had more than 2 shots.
Maybe because she still wants him.
Right, you don't remember.
No. Get your story straight. Get your story straight.
This is one fantastic show we've all gotten today, and we can only hope that it gets better. Ms. McNeil has even more things to say, and it's kind of obvious that Ms. Stembridge doesn't even know how to counter or reply to her. Take a look at this, for instance.
Ask him. I won't call. Yeah, I showed up one time and she was there. They wouldn't open the door. That's why she claimed she ain't never seen me.
And
the front door, they wouldn't let me in the house because you was in there.
Let's move on. Ms. McNeil, you may take a seat. Thank you so much. All right.
That's exactly the word, Judge Lauren. Wow. Now it's time to find out what the truth is. Is the child for Mr. Buchanan or for someone else?
Mr. Buchanan, you are her father.
Thank you.
That's a blessing. You must have did something when I already got it knocked off.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They ran out of lemon or you already.
Thank you.
It's obvious that you're happy and you're pleased.
Yeah, I love that baby to death. I'm glad she's mine.
Ms. Jackson is in court today to defend her cheating husband and prove that even though he might have a mistress, he isn't the father of that mistress's child. The mistress in question, Ms. Lipscomb, thinks all of this is monumentally silly. Anyway, here is how Ms. Jackson narrates her peculiar situation.
I feel as though there's something going on that you hadn't told me because he had been distant in the days prior to. I had put him out. So, Your Honor, and as we were standing outside talking, we were in the front of the building, and the defendant pops up in the car like she's Ricky Raccoon or somebody, Your Honor. Upon hearing my voice, I turned around and I went and knocked on the window. I asked her if she knew my husband. I called him by name. She said she did.
And that's exactly when all the problems began. Ms. Lipscomb then told Ms. Jackson about how she'd been intimate with her husband and was even staying with him. Of course, Ms. Jackson didn't take this well at all, and that obviously spills over to the court. Here is Ms. Lipscomb's defense for her peculiar situation.
He was always labeled as my BM, which is my baby mother. BM does not spell wife. Wife is spelled W-I-F-E.
Oh, she can spell, Your Honor. Wow.
So it didn't dawn on me to ask, are you married now? Because if you're married now, why have you been living in a room for 3 to 4 months? And I have a key to your room.
3 to 4
I got
months.
clothes in your room. I'm at your room every day, every night.
Your Honor,
I'm in your room every day, every night. I've never seen this woman.
From here, it looks like the primary culprit here is Mr. Jackson, because he apparently didn't tell Ms. Lipscomb that he was married, and he also didn't tell Ms. Jackson that he was going around telling everyone she was just his baby mama. And one more thing, when Ms. Jackson found out about all of this, she found a way to send her husband to jail that night. Seriously, she says so herself.
My husband went to jail that night, Your Honor. He and I was angry enough.
He called the police.
I was angry enough
and sent them to jail.
To send him to jail, Your Honor. It was an impulsive decision, and I understand it was not the right decision, Your Honor. But yes, I sent him to jail because I knew that he had some legal issues going on in another state. The next morning, I go to the room to find Miss Lipscomb laying in the bed crying.
I told you I was going back to the room when you was in the car talking to me.
This is properly insane. But we've got to meet Mr. Jackson and understand the mastermind of this steamy hot pile of gory mess. And look at him, there he is. Judge Lauren then asks him the question everyone wants to ask.
He says she had no idea you had a wife.
No, she didn't, because I never mentioned it to her, Your Honor.
So that part of her statement is true. You never told her you were married.
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson, you are the perpetrator of this mess. Because I'm gonna be straight up. When Miss Lipscomb first started talking, I didn't believe for 1 minute that she didn't really know you were married. Until you sat down in this chair and confirmed the lie. You told her.
Well, Mr. Jackson, anything less than the truth is a lie, so that was actually a lie. You wouldn't believe it, but Ms. Jackson bought items worth nearly $1,000 for Miss Lipscomb's baby because she said she understood her position as a mother. And despite that, they still argue like mortal enemies, just like they are doing here.
Yes, Your Honor. She told me
it was
that
never a secret that I had a boyfriend in the beginning. Your husband knew just like you.
Your
So
Honor,
don't act like it was a secret that I was dealing with anybody.
Her when she was sick, Your Honor. She said that the young man was taking care of her.
And your husband know that too. So what else are you trying to prove?
That it was the young man's baby. From my standpoint, it's a community baby. It's anybody's baby because she's community shared property.
Wow. If you missed that, Ms. Jackson is claiming that this baby isn't her husband's because Ms. Lipscomb is what some might call a community ride. But community ride or not, Mr. Jackson's name is on the birth certificate of her child, and Mr. Jackson is the child's father in the eyes of the law. How about that? And things did get worse.
This woman is delusional. The whole time I was pregnant,
I'm delusional.
She swore that she was pregnant
with my husband.
She's been pregnant 4 times since I have had my daughter.
Your Honor, what she's
right here
not
that
telling you that I'm pregnant now. That's the part that you hadn't admitted to.
I told you every time.
Hold on. Let's get some order.
Every time.
What did you just say, Ms. Jackson?
I'm pregnant now. I'm due May 5th. Mr. Jackson knows about it. I've invited him to doctor's appointments. He and I talked about it. He said to me.
What? This is incredible. Seriously. It's hard to talk about this case with my jaw still on my desk. And Ms. Lipscomb is still seeing Mr. Jackson, while he's technically still married to Miss Jackson. Yes, that's all true. And then Judge Lauren says, we all want to say.
And I'm being generous with my language. I don't know if you all think you scoring points or impressing anybody with this tit-for-tat nonsense, but you just look silly. Because ultimately, he's not fighting for either one of y'all.
Your Honor, and
he's sitting over here, quiet, just watching a random tennis match with 2 women going back and forth, and he's sitting there with a smirk on his face like, I'm done with all this nonsense.
Yup. Who's worse, the coward or the person carrying the coward's child? Anyway, this is enough drama. It's time to check out the results and close this chapter forever.
Mr. Jackson, you are not the father.
Thank you. It's still over. It's still over, Your Honor.
Now it's not even her husband's child. After all of this, what about this beautiful little baby? Do you know who her father is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is he gonna want to be a part of her life?
No, probably not.
Mrs. Pickens admits to sleeping with 2 other men while involved with Mrs. Jackson's son, who's now incarcerated. But she says that despite this, she's absolutely certain that her daughter is Ms. Jackson's granddaughter, and Ms. Jackson insists that that's a lie. Here is how Ms. Jackson sees it.
She came to my home with her mother and another family member. Let me remind you, this child, I never even heard of this young lady.
That's because you don't have a relationship with your son.
Yes, I do.
But
I have a relationship. He lives in my household.
I knew your son before
he lives
I
in
met
my
you.
household.
I knew your son
and he
before
never
I met
mentioned
you.
her.
Okay, let's get some order, ladies.
Yes.
Miss Pickens, I'm gonna come to you, but I want to understand. Miss Jackson, you say you never heard of Miss Pickens?
Never heard of her. He never
You never
mentioned
heard about a baby?
Yeah, that sounds super crazy, but Ms. Jackson swears that's exactly what happened. Anyway, Miss Pickens has this to say about the whole issue.
I did believe that it was one of the guys that I was dating, but her
That
son,
would be biologically
her
the
son-
answer. It was
her-
one of the guys you were sleeping with.
Yeah, he pursued
How many
me.
guys were you sleeping with?
2.
She don't know.
2.
She don't know.
2.
She
when
don't
I met
know.
him, I had a boyfriend.
Exactly.
Me and the boy stopped.
So she also said
Me
she's
and the
a
boy
cheater.
stopped.
Hold on
Me
now,
and
Miss
the boy-
Jackson, let her speak.
Dear heavens, this is so messy. It's clear Miss Pickens was sleeping with many other men, and it's also clear that Miss Jackson desperately doesn't want Miss Pickens to have her grandchild. Anyway, both women get into another fight, and Judge Lauren has to bang her gavel to get them to quiet down.
You was having unprotected sex with more than one man.
When we broke
That's
up,
why.
I did
No,
start
because
talking
she
to
said it.
somebody
Hold on.
else. I did start talking to somebody else.
Ladies, I can't understand a word any of you all are saying.
Okay.
We can't understand them either, Judge. Mrs. Pickens says she first thought the other man was her baby's father, but then she changed her mind and started believing that Ms. Jackson's son is her baby's father. And why would she do that? Well, the answer is so incredible that you've got to hear it from her yourself.
Your mind and why?
When he pursued me, calling me and like, oh well, that's my baby, this, that. So I
So
was
when
like,
you say he pursued you, you
Yes.
meant when you had this baby,
Yes.
Miss Jackson's son called
Yes.
you and said,
Yes.
that's my baby.
yes, and she looked just like him.
And you felt like there's a
Yes.
resemblance, she looks like him, and
Yes.
he's saying, this is my baby.
Yes.
So
he ain't never denied it. If he did, he denied her around them.
Your Honor, I will agree.
So you think they look alike?
Let's be real indeed. Judge Lauren might think that both women would quiet down because of the talking to she gave them earlier, but of course she'd be wrong, because they just continued arguing.
Because your child is
But
not mine.
I'm just saying, if my daughter was not yours, you would have never took the time and be like, well, she could come over to my house. Well, you could come over to my house and spend. You could come over with your daughter and spend the night.
That's
I'm just saying,
because- that's the simple fact,
what
because-
grown woman?
because
I'm
my
just saying,
son is
but at the end
claiming
of the
this
day,
is
I'm
his
just
child.
saying-
And now Miss Pickens is saying that at first Ms. Jackson expressed interest in her baby and wanted to establish a relationship, but Ms. Jackson says that never actually happened. And of course they shout all of this at each other.
Established a relationship.
Never.
Yes.
With
Never.
the baby.
Yes. Never. I never had
One second, ma'am.
I never established a relationship with this child. We got
Give
text
her a lot
messages
of text.
that would even sit up here and say, I never
Lying.
established a relationship.
Lying. I'm
That
just
child been to
saying,
my house
if
3
I-
times. If that's the case, Your Honor,
Listen, we can either get this resolved or y'all can go on back home and act a fool in the street because you're not going to act it up in here.
Hopefully that will be the end of that. The judge even had to send Jerome to stand between both women to stop all the cross-talking. Anyway, why does Ms. Jackson doubt this baby in the first place? Let's see her speak about it.
doubt was for the simple fact of my son looks more like her
So
mother.
you're saying the first part of your doubt is you don't feel like the baby looks like your son.
Exactly.
Okay,
No
and
grandmother
next,
connection.
You don't have a grandmother connection.
No.
Meaning when you look at the baby, you
I
don't
do
have
not-
that feeling that
Exactly.
this
is my grandchild. I have 2 grandchildren that I love dearly and take very good care of them. And
She
not
just
with this
had her
child, I
baby, so
can't.
how do you-
Okay.
Wow, that's a really healthy list of lies there. Is Ms. Pickens really that much of a liar? And if she is there any reason we should take her seriously? Anyway, Miss Jackson continues with her really strong allegations.
Lied about a second pregnancy?
Yes. When she found out Aaliyah was pregnant, she is very jealous of Aaliyah. She's in competition with Aaliyah. So when she found that out, she sat
I'm
up
just
here and
saying,
said she was
I
pregnant.
So Miss Pickens, did you
Yes,
lie
I did.
about
Yes,
a second
I did.
pregnancy?
Yes, I was kind of hurt. I was kind of hurt. Yes, I did lie. And the only reason how you know I lied because I told your son that I lied.
So Ms. Jackson does have a point about not trusting Ms. Pickens. And then Ms. Pickens' mother jumps into the argument to make it a proper shouting and screaming match.
I'm not gonna say what my child don't do wrong and what she is, because at times she is wrong. But with the same time, if she having a problem with Aaliyah, why do this one gotta get in it?
Grown woman.
This grown woman. So my child's 19 and I got a 30-something-year-old woman, I'm talking, jumping in at the same time.
So
I'm
just
definitely-
to clarify, Aaliyah seated here
These- both of them-
is
both of them
Miss
go back and
Jackson's
forth.
son's
go back and
other
forth.
child's mother.
Yes.
Phew, what a case. Anyway, it's time to read the DNA test results and see exactly what's happening here. Is Ms. Jackson's son the father of Ms. Pickens' child, or is it the other man? Let's find out.
Mrs. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Got you.
Hold on.
Thank you, God. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Mama, she just came to with that thing. I need order. Court is in recess.
Miss Benskin might not know who the father of her baby is because she had a DNA test conducted on 2 other guys before deciding to try her luck with Mr. Haskett. Miss Benskin here insists that Mr. Haskett is the biological father of her baby, and Mr. Haskett says that it is a lie and that she has slept with way too many men to count. He also says she is a money-hungry liar. Here is how Ms. Benskin puts it.
He cannot hold a job. He has not held the job for a very long time. He's already been to jail once for it, and he's still not paying.
So you say you're here to do him a favor because you need to get this legal situation out in the open, get the paternity confirmed because you fear Mr. Haskett's about to go to jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that is mighty nice of Ms. Benskin to do, right? Anyway, Ms. Scott, who is Mr. Haskett's girlfriend, says that Ms. Benskin is a liar because she has received a lot of money. But he is still owing, so no one knows exactly how the logistics of that works. The issue now is that Mr. Haskett has been named the father by default, so he wants to get out of that with a negative DNA test. So how did these two even make a baby?
We've known each other for a long time, and he had wrote me on social media, asked me to come hang out. We hung out a couple times. We went to a party.
Okay, so you went to a party. What was the nature of the relationship in your estimation, Mr. Haskett?
Friendship.
Just a friend?
Yes.
This was not you trying to start a relationship?
It started out to be something different, but like...
And Margaret came back into the picture, and he wanted to be back with her, which I understand. They have a daughter together, but doesn't mean he has to push my daughter off to the side.
Well, that is not very clear, but at least it is something, so let's get right to it. What is the basis of Mr. Haskett's paternity doubt? It has to be something really strong, right? Well, let us see how Mr. Haskett describes it.
She told me she had to pick up her friend from work, and after we had picked him up, he got in the car, he kissed her on the cheek and said that he loved her, and I just kind of stepped back from the situation and looked at it like, what?
You're in the car and this guy kisses Miss Benskin and says, I love you?
Yes.
And he doesn't think anything's going on between the two of you?
No, Your Honor.
So you're just sitting there as a friend?
Yes.
Oh, that definitely throws a huge spanner in the works. Ms. Benskin says that is a complete lie, and the guy Mr. Haskett is speaking about is a good friend who she never had any sexual contact with. She also says that kiss never happened, and she has never been intimate with that guy. So somebody here is lying. Through all of this, Ms. Benskin insists that Mr. Haskett is her child's biological father.
Ms. Benskin, there is no doubt in your mind Mr. Haskett is your child's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have no doubt?
No doubt. My daughter's 4. She deserves to know who her dad is, and she doesn't. Brent, we lived 3 houses down from him for 2 months. 2 months we lived down there. He did not see her not one time.
That sounds really cold, especially when there is a strong chance that the child could belong to Mr. Haskett. However, his girlfriend, Ms. Scott, sees things a bit differently.
I was at the bar, and I'm talking to this girl. She's one of my friend's friends. We're sitting here, and she realizes that, oh, Brandon's my child's dad. And she's like, oh, well, I know so-and-so.
I've never been to court other than with Brandon, and he didn't show up. That's his fault, not mine.
Well, we do know now you don't have to go to court to have a DNA test. Yeah. So did you test anybody else?
No. Yeah, I have proof where she says that she
they would have tested.
I'd like to see that.
It is very rare for us to get out and out proof in paternity court, except for the DNA test itself, of course. But Ms. Scott isn't here to play around. She has printed the messages she got from Ms. Benskin on Facebook, and they are more than enough proof for the argument she is making. Here is Judge Lauren reading out the evidence.
Me and blank went to court and DNA was done because he actually showed up to court, unlike Brandon, and DNA proved she wasn't blank. That only leaves Brandon, honey. And then, Miss Scott, you say, where's the papers?
There wasn't no court date.
Wait a minute, Miss Benskin, you just testified that you never ever had a question or an issue with any other man being the biological.
And I didn't.
So what is this text about?
They made me mad and I didn't want Kinsley to be his.
Very convenient, Miss Benskin. Very, very convenient. The fact that she sort of lied in court also makes this a little bit more messy. Anyway, do you guys think that excuse makes any sense? Well, it is time to see the results, but Judge Lauren has one more question for Ms. Benskin.
Well, as I said, I have the results for you, but I do want to ask you, Ms. Benskin, one more time. No lying.
No lying.
Just tell the truth. Is there any other possible father
No.
for Kinsley?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Jerome?
Okay then, it is time to get the results from DNA diagnostics and find out if Ms. Benskin is really telling the truth or if there's another game afoot here.
Mr. Haskett, you are the father.
Now how to, so we get to see her, right?
Yeah, I told you guys went for visitation.
Without you.
Listen. We've gotten the answer. Now, as we go forward, we have to do so in a responsible way.